You are not special. You are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You're the same decaying organic matter as everything else. We're all part of the same compost heap. We're all singing, all dancing crap of the world. You know, we oftentimes hear that quote again. That came from Fight Club, which was a movie that came out when I was a young man. A very influential movie, a bit of a cult classic. But, you know, that holds true to training, and people need to understand this. And this is something that is hard to push through to people, and it's even harder to push through to people when there are people who sell specialized programs for you as an individual, which is one of the biggest scams in the fitness industry, because the reality is you are not a special, unique snowflake, and you probably do not need a specialized program. And what I mean by that, you are not in need of a specialized program because you probably are intact. You don't have any major injuries or major health problems. Now, if you have 3 herniated discs in your back, or you've torn both of your rotator cuffs, or something of that nature, or you have multiple sclerosis, you might need a special program. But barring things to that extreme, you probably don't. Actually, I'm going to say you definitely don't. And in some cases, the people who meet that criteria can still successfully run a basic cookie cutter program and get fantastic results. And one of the things that most coaches or people who write programs hate more than anything else is when someone changes their program, when it's not listed as an acceptable change or an acceptable template to it. In fact, that's something you see most successful coaches complain about who put out programs, that people change their programs and then they complain when they don't get the results that they want. And if you don't believe me that even top level athletes, elite level athletes can all run the same program, go watch anyone from the West Side Barbell guys to the starting strength guys to a college D1 football team. What are you going to notice about that when you see those people training in groups? They all run the same program. They all run the exact same program, and they are still winning. So let me ask you a question. If an entire football team can go play a bowl game and win a bowl game, when the whole damn team is put on the same program by the strength and conditioning coaches, and they train the guys together in groups, and they all do the exact same exercises with similar reps, and they're put through a strength and conditioning program together to where people in different positions on the team all do it because they're all based around getting them as big and strong, as explosive as possible. If they can do that, and you see the West Side guys and you see Louis Simmons training them, putting a whole group of guys down the road through the exact same exercises. Their max effort, they all look the same. The only thing they change is the amount of weight on the bar. From guy to guy, they change weights around. They run the same program. And every guy there goes to nationals. Every guy on that team running that same program side by side all go to nationals. They're all massive, they're all strong, and they'll even have a woman in the rotation running the same program with the guys, and she'll go set a national record. You go look at the starting strength guys. They'll have high school football players running the exact same program as a 65-year-old grandmother. The only difference is the amount of weight they're using on the bar. Now, if all these people can successfully do this in groups, what makes you think that you are special and unique? In other words, if a high school football player can bulk up on the same program that a 65-year-old grandmother successfully runs, and they're all getting good results, and every guy on the football team can be put on the same program and win a bowl game, what makes you think that you are so special and so unique that any proven program won't work for you? Yes, we are all different, but when it comes to training, this whole idea of you have to find what works for you, that, oh, maybe you have different muscle fiber distribution, so you need a different rep range or volume, that's complete nonsense. Yes, maybe at the ultra elite level, some advanced athletes need slightly different programming. Yes, different people need different accessory exercises for weak points, because, and I don't mean if that weak point is an aesthetic weak point, it could be a strength weak point, it can be a sport specific weak point, but that's accessory work. Basic programming works the same for everyone depending on your experience level. In other words, a program that's written to be successful for novice athletes that 1,000 people have run successfully, odds are 99% chance it's going to work successfully for you. If there's an intermediate program, and I don't care what it is, I mean, notice how many successful intermediate programs there are. They're different, but they all work. The Starting Strength Guys Texas method. I have an off-season athlete linear periodization program. The only difference is you program in your own accessories. The basic exercises and percentages are pre-calculated for every person who runs it. You have Bill Starr's program, which is written for football players. You have all these different programs, and there's a lot of others out there. They all work for intermediates. Everyone who's an intermediate will get bigger and stronger if they run these programs proportionately through their whole body. Again, the only difference might be the accessory work you do for weak points, because maybe your triceps are a weak point. Maybe your rear delts are a weak point. Maybe your hamstrings are a weak point. And again, that weak point could be aesthetic, it could be performance, it could be sports specific, but you train for weak points. But the same basic programs work for everyone. They work for everyone. And sometimes it's just personal preference. That's all it is. It's not physical. It's psychological. It's about, can you adhere to the program? Yes, I write my own programs, but you know what? I know that if I went right now and I ran 531, that I would get bigger and stronger. You know why? Because it's a proven program. That's all it takes. And there are guys out there who've run that program who squat 600 pounds and deadlift 700 pounds and bench press 400 pounds. There are guys who run that program for 8 years straight and hit those numbers. There are also little scrawny intermediates who started the program who've gotten to a 300 bench and a 450 squat. And there are even bodybuilders who run this program using stuff like the Big But Boring template, who have run the program. They've got big enough and proportionate enough that they've gone because they have genetics to bodybuild, and they've won low-level bodybuilding shows doing it. All right? It's a basic program. I just am not particularly fond of it. Nothing wrong with the program. You guys see where I'm going with this, though? This idea that you need a special program is ridiculous. And here's the thing. Coaches hate it when you change their programs, and here's why. If you're qualified to write a better program than they are, you don't need to run their program to begin with. If you're good enough to take my programs, or Wendler's programs, or Louis Simmons's programs and change them, if you are that knowledgeable about training, you need to be writing programs. Because if you could think that you can make changes that are going to not reduce your results, you probably have 2 decades of experience. In other words, if you have enough training knowledge that you could modify any of these pre-existing programs in a way that is better than the people who wrote them, or at least equal, without losing results, you need to be putting programs out. You probably have 15 or 20 years of experience. You've probably coached plenty of other people. You probably have had a 600-pound squat or whatever at some point. You've probably won an NPC bodybuilding show at the national level. In other words, you have a lot of experience if you have the knowledge to successfully change someone's program without reducing your results. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when they modify these things. They don't seem to understand that when you start changing people's programs that are proven to work, the odds that you're going to get the same results is actually reduced. Odds are, more likely than not, you're going to gain less muscle and less strength if you modify that program. Unless the person who wrote it has said, okay, I need to make an alteration for you. Okay, you've had a rotator cuff surgery 3 months ago. Okay, I need to modify this program for you. All right, you have multiple sclerosis or Lou Gehrig's disease. I probably need to modify this program for you. But if it's not something that extreme, I promise you, you're going to get less results. Because everyone who's written these successful programs has coached enough people and taught enough people through their lives that they know what they're doing, and you don't. And it's like Louis Simmons says, when people ask Louis Simmons, and he's very much a dick about it, when people say to Louis, what recommendations would you make that I change to your program? If I wanted to run it, I want to make some changes. What do you think about that? He usually gets very offended, and he tells them, who in the hell are you to change my program. How many world champions have you coached over the last 30 years? None. You're not qualified. You're nobody. Don't change my program. That's how he feels about it. And that's something people need to let sink in. The odds are you're running someone else's program because you don't have the knowledge to write a program yourself. And if you don't have the knowledge to write a program yourself, what makes you think that you're going to modify it in a way that's going to get you as good of results as if you had just left the program the way it was written by an experienced coach? The odds are very, very slim. They're not in your favor, and it's really unwise. But people try to do this because everyone thinks that they're special, and they aren't. You're not. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.